Okay, here comes another all-time favorite. Alien. This one has a sticker on it that I really enjoy. It says, lifetime quality guarantee. I just love that for some reason. Because back when tapes were coming out, we didn't know we would have discs later on in the future. So they were like, this is gonna last you forever. Trust us. And maybe it will. Maybe it will. We'll see if it lasts forever. But Alien is fantastic. It stars Sigourney Weaver, and it's about these space truckers in space on a craft called the Nostromo. And while they are bringing back their haul, they get a distress signal from a nearby planet. And contractually, they are obligated to stop on the planet and see if it's somebody who needs help. And so they go onto this planet and they discover something, and something comes back onto the ship with them. And yeah, here we have the Lost Boys. This movie's great. I watched it again recently. I was obsessed with this movie when I was like 15 or 16 years old. Me and my friend Robbie, shout out Robbie, were really into this movie, and I had the biggest, fattest crush on David ever. The Lost Boys is about this teenager and his little brother and his single mom who move to a town in California. And it's infested with vampires. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not. I think everybody knows that The Lost Boys is about vampires, but basically it's these two kids' war against a vampire biker gang. And they're cool as fuck. They're like wearing leather jackets, and they're like delinquents, and they're like really like just cool. You know, they're just really cool. They're just really cool, you know? And it's like, it's funny. It's not like really very scary. It's got, obviously it's like a horror movie, but it's pretty funny. It's kind of like adventurous. It's got a lot of personality, and I highly recommend it. So here's a weird one. Now, I just want to preface this by saying, I love bootlegs. I love pirating things. I don't care. I truly just don't care. And so here, what I have in my hand right now is a bootleg copy of 2018 Suspiria on VHS. I got it on eBay. I don't remember the seller's name, but they had a Pearl tape that I hope they make another one of, because Shelby wants Pearl on tape. As long as people are making bootlegs of like my favorite modern movies on VHS, as a VHS collector, and as someone who likes movies from every era, I'm gonna be buying it. Like, just saying, I'm gonna be buying it. The only way I can think to describe the 2018 Suspiria in a way that doesn't spoil anything is basically the same basic plot of the original Suspiria, but about 30 minutes into the movie, it takes a hard detour, and you either love it or you hate it. Personally, I'm a big 2018 Suspiria aficionado. I super love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It got me into being a film buff. I mean, I was already a film buff, but this movie really got me like super into like reviewing and like analyzing movies and stuff like that. So, plot rundown. Susie Bannion, this is different from the original. She's a Mennonite who comes to Germany to audition for a prestigious dance academy called the Marcos Tanzgruppe. And they're all witches. In the remake, they make it clear to you within like I said, the first 30 minutes that these women are witches. Whereas in the original, it's a little bit more left up in the air whether or not they are witches until the very end. Sorry for spoilers. But in the remake, it's pretty, they're like, these are freaking witches and stuff is gonna go bad. Then it's like almost 3 hours of like the most strange, esoteric horror you could possibly imagine. And I love it. A lot of people don't love it, but I love it. Here's a classic. RoboCop. I love RoboCop. As somebody who loves horror as much as I do, I never thought that I would love like 80s sci-fi action movies so much. But like, I literally went shopping today, and I went to an abandoned storage place in the next town over, and I found Total Recall on tape, and I didn't even think twice where I just snatched it up. I was like, immediately I have to have that. Especially if it's got Arnie in it. I really love these like crazy sci-fi 80s action films. But RoboCop is about an officer named Alex Murphy, and he has been assigned to one of the most dangerous precincts in Detroit by a corporate conglomerate group called OCP that are basically trying to militarize the police. And they're trying out all sorts of new technology and stuff like that. And so they are allocating officers with good potential to the most dangerous precincts in order to make this, you know, complete these experiments, basically using the new technology. They're basically experimenting on the police officers who get injured. And Alex Murphy gets gravely injured and killed. But then Miguel Ferrer, the legendary Miguel Ferrer, has a program that he wants to start. And once Alex dies, he takes him and turns him into RoboCop with his new technology. And we see RoboCop's journey as half man, half machine. Here's a good one. It's the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I love this movie. I watched this movie definitely when I was way too young, but it's just such a funny movie. Every single song fucks. Okay, I had to censor that. Every single song is really good. And me and my aunt just went to a late night showing last Halloween of Rocky Horror with the Shadow Cast, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. It's about Brad Majors and Janet Weiss, a newly engaged couple going to see their friend, Dr. Scott, to tell him about their engagement, but they get lost during a rainstorm, and then their tire gets popped, and they have to seek refuge at this mysterious mansion out in the woods. And they meet a cast of pretty strange, pretty sordid characters. And basically, it's a laugh riot from beginning to end. You can dance, you can sing, you can laugh, you can cry, you can do whatever you want to this movie. It's the whole package. Willkommen, bienvenue. Cabaret. I love Cabaret. I prefer the musical to the movie, but the movie has still got something so special about it. Liza Minnelli is totally beautiful and enigmatic in this movie. Joel Grey is perfect as the MC. This is another musical that I think, like, every single song is a banger. Like, there are a couple of songs in Cabaret that I don't find myself coming back and listening to a lot, but for the most part, every song is a banger, and the story is just delicious. It's got a really important message. It's got laughs. Again, you can laugh, you can cry, you can sing, you can dance, like what I just said about Rocky Horror, except this movie has a very important message that's much darker and more serious than Rocky Horror. Basically, it's about the rise of fascism. Although I think the movie dampens that a little bit. The musical goes into a little bit more heavy detail about that, and it's a little bit more impactful about it, but the movie also does discuss that. Rammstein, live aus Berlin. This was one of the first concerts I ever saw when I got into Rammstein when I was a teenager, and personally, my favorite era and aesthetic and sound of Rammstein is definitely from the 90s, especially Sehnsucht. I just think that their image around that time was so cool, and I love just how purely industrial the music sounds. And it was some of my very first exposure to Rammstein, like, live. Like, I would obsessively watch clips from this concert on YouTube all throughout the later years of high school. And so, of course, because this came out on VHS, of course, I had to have it. That is especially because, well, I love Bookdish, and on the DVD releases, they cut that one out of the live concert. So I knew if I was going to own Livehouse Berlin, I had to have the VHS version because Bookdish cannot be missed.